Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Sorry that we're getting started here a couple minutes late. We were both having some tech problems. This first of the month issues, right? I was just telling Arielle and Mark here from Sphynx Automation that we try to keep these webinars super casual. It's just an open Q&A for anyone who wants to ask questions. And I have some questions as well that people had asked me prior to this webinar. But first, Arielle needs no introduction. She's a powerhouse in the financial advisor industry. She really focuses on automation for advisors, sort of operation processes, stuff like that. And Mark, I know you're with Sphynx as well. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, just tell me a little bit about what you do for the audience here, just in case for some crazy reason they've not heard of you, although I find that hard to imagine. Feel free to dive in.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Arielle from Sphynx Automation. This is my husband, Mark. We are partners in the business. We work together to help financial advisors and financial planners set up and automate their technology. Zoe has been a great asset to our company, both on a personal level, helping us with our marketing endeavors, and on a professional level, helping our clients with their marketing endeavors as well. So we're really excited to be here. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, that about sums it up. The only thing that I guess we should mention is our expertise lies in just getting people's applications and software to communicate so that they can go about doing things that they would otherwise have to hire someone else to do. Arielle's kind of the tech expert. She does a lot of the complicated stuff. I'm kind of the back-end nerd that goes through the processes we get and identifies where automations fit best within a specific project or a workflow.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's something that I always joke because people ask me about automation for marketing. I know nothing about, so I send them to you guys and how to get, Zaps set up and stuff like that. I can do it, but it's much more liable to break if I touch it. So I'm super excited to have you on today. I get so many questions from advisors, both consulting and existing clients, who want to know more about how to automate their marketing processes. And I'm just excited to chat with you guys about technology and just best practices that you guys have seen. I know that you work in systems that I've not even delved into yet, like Jotform. So excited to dig into that. I was actually on a webinar on Wednesday and someone asked me an automation question and I was like, I've got just the presentation that you should join. Okay, so with that kind of being said, because this is just a casual coffee chat, let's just jump right in. I have a couple questions here that I said, were submitted prior, and we usually just kind of keep it casual, like I had mentioned. So anything that you guys want to jump in and chat about, that would be awesome. So first and foremost, marketing and automation. What are you guys finding are the financial planning trends in the profession right now as far as automating those processes? Is there something specific that stands out, or is it just, I know for me personally, advisors ask me all the time, how can I automate this better? I want to stay a solo, or I don't want to hire someone directly, or if I have fewer contractors, the better, right? Just fewer cooks in the kitchen. What do you guys recommend? What's a good starting spot?
That is a great question, Zoe, and we often get asked that. The best starting point is having your processes and workflows at least 60 to 80% fleshed out, because if you don't have a foundation, there is nothing that you can automate. So if you don't have groups or segments for who you want to target with your marketing, and if you don't have collateral fleshed out for your marketing efforts, you might have the best applications with which to send out email campaigns. You might have a great idea about what you want to do, but if the collateral doesn't exist, there wouldn't be anything to automate. So the very, very first step would be to identify your own workflows and your own processes, and then segment out who you want to target and how you want to target them. And then from there, automation would fit in.
Yeah.
No, I think that's an amazing point. Sorry, go ahead, Arielle.
Oh, I was just going to say, you asked about trends in the marketing that we see our clients doing. I would say and I appreciate this, kind of steered away from doing less personalized marketing, where, back in the day, it was like cold call, especially if you work at a brokerage or a wirehouse. You're just having that impersonal interaction with these potential clients. And I think that a lot of the clients we work with, I don't know if I'd call it a trend, but maybe it's just the type of advisors that we work with want to have that more personal interaction with their clients, as well as a more educational, beneficial interaction, where rather than just dripping salesy emails that are like, hey, buy from me, hey, work with me, you don't know anything about me, what I do, or how I can help you. And we've seen a lot of our clients leaning towards giving value first, knowing that if they're the right fit, clients are going to reach out and want to work with them in return.
Okay, that's fantastic. And we've seen the same thing. So a lot of people obviously come to us, we're a custom content firm for that more personal element. And what I almost find is there's like a disconnect between people who don't realize that you can still be personal while automating and like make it as, you know, off your plate as possible, or delegate as much of it as possible, or automate what you can. With that being said, when you guys talk to people about like segmenting, where are you finding advisors start there? Are they like segmenting their current client list that they want to nurture? Are they segmenting prospects? I'm just interested to hear more about that.
I think it's in a couple of different areas. I mean, feel free to jump in if I'm missing something, but I think it's two different concepts of segmentation. The first concept is where in the client lifecycle the lead or contact is, whether they are somebody you've spoken to already or whether it's somebody that is an ongoing client. Because even though somebody's already working with you, that doesn't mean that the communication stops or that the marketing stops, because at any given point, somebody can choose to stop working with you and go work with somebody else. Granted, it's less intense when they've already signed on. You have sort of a foothold, to use, I don't know, for lack of a better term, but you still want to continue to provide value, even automated additional educational value to your ongoing clients. I think the second point about segmentation is zooming into that lead part of the process where somebody hasn't yet worked with you, digging into where in their decision to work with you they are. So have they taken a step to click on a link within your email campaign? Have they downloaded a resource? Have they attended a webinar that you've done? You can sort of group people together by the number of interactions or the level of an interaction they have or haven't had with you yet. And you can give them specific content related to where they are in that more micro stage of the process. So that's what, I mean, is there anything else that you think that?
Yeah. Just one other thing to add. I thought your points were incredible based on what we've seen, but also one thing we've seen that's kind of a best practice is delineating clients or segmenting them by service and products. So for example, advisors might do, and I'm not an advisor, Arielle was, but just from what I've seen as a non-advisor, some segmentation might be investment only clients, financial planning only clients, or the hybrid clients that an RIA might have. And the reason a lot of advisors that we help segment that way is because they have more personalized, tailored marketing for whatever service category their clients might be in, which also additionally could help them with some of their marketing efforts for leads for that specific kind of engagement too.
No, absolutely. And this is actually goes to sort of a point that I thought it interesting that you guys do both client segmentation and like marketing segmentation. Because when we talk to prospects, they often, or just advisors in general, they often view marketing as like outbound only, right? And we like to really focus on internal marketing as well, not just inbound leads, but how are you maintaining sticky relationships with your clients? How are you creating like a referral machine? And so, like you had said, segmenting by client type and then providing automated education, whether that's nurture sequence, webinars, you know, what have you. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that's really an untapped opportunity that a lot of advisors kind of assume, well, my service is enough. But the truth is people in today's hyper-connected world want to hear from you way more often.
Yeah. And especially as we move more into the digital age where there's a lot more opportunity for a solo RIA to exist because they can function in ways that non-traditional employers would have had them do things. It's a lot easier for a newer RIA to kind of specifically focus who they want to target based on what services they want to offer.
Absolutely.
And I think it goes back to the idea of personalization, right? You kind of mentioned this balance between automating and personalizing. On the one hand, you want to make sure that you're being efficient. On the other hand, you want to make sure you're not alienating somebody or treating them like you're a robot and they're just a number on a piece of paper because of the automation.
Like an email address.
Exactly. So this is a great way to using segmentation to balance those two competing ideas where you can still have efficiency for yourself by automating some of these marketing campaigns, but have it be more personalized because it's tailored to that particular person's needs.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And it looks like we've got a question here in the chat. So, and I'll kind of let you guys answer. I've got opinions too. So, the question was, how can you automate internal marketing to existing clients? So, mentioning segmentation, we kind of already covered that. But how can you create the content and then figure out like an automated process for that? I guess I'll turn over to you guys first. How are you guys seeing advisors do internal marketing? Or I call it marketing. A lot of advisors will call it like internal communication or client relationship management are sort of the buzzwords there. I view it as all marketing if it's communication. How are you guys?
Yeah, I think a lot of it traditionally has been creating client appreciation events and pitching that or advertising it through a newsletter or some other kind of email blast, doing special webinars or educational events. I think at the core, it's really the same, whether it's a potential client or an existing client. Your bottom line goal is to just add as much value as possible and give them as much information to help them with their situation as you can. So I think it's similar. It just might be, again, slightly tweaked, and the tone, the wording might be just a little bit different because you know that they're already working with you. And you might know, even because of that, a little bit more about what their specific needs are on a deeper level than you might with somebody you've never spoken to or worked with before.
Absolutely.
And just to add to that, one thing, if you're trying to create some of those internal marketings for your existing clients, we always recommend that you start with 3 things. Who are you marketing to? Like, what segment are they in? Are they group A clients? Are they group B clients? Are they group C clients? And is that based on some sort of monetary threshold, some investment threshold that they have with you? What are you marketing to them? Or if you're marketing educational things, is it based on tax season? Is it based on, maybe it's springtime and you want to bring up investing in 529 plans to clients who have children? And why are you bringing that up? Is it to help them within a specific time of the year? Is it you want to generate more leads so you can offer a specific kind of service? The who, the what, and the why are paramount to what your after action in terms of marketing would be. And then that would dictate how you go about the automation sequence. Because if you know who and what you want to market, then it's easier to identify the best tools that would allow you to execute within the manner that fits best for what you're trying to achieve.
I think that's a fantastic point. And I think too, as far as creating content, so because that's definitely, automating is not my area of expertise, but the creation for, like nurturing those client base. To your point, I think segmenting who you're nurturing first, right? Is it past clients if you're a one-time planner? Is it current clients who you're doing wealth management with? Then identifying what sort of content they're going to appreciate most. So I know, like for us, a lot of advisors are big readers, but they're also busy. So like we've upped our video content, doing webinars like these that they can stop in at, or grab sort of, we call them like coffee side chats. Or I see a lot of my advisors doing, they call them like brown bag lunch Q&As, where clients can come and just ask questions once a quarter or once a month, or with even bigger firms, some junior advisors kind of take that on. I think that's a good way to delegate some of that content, is if you do have interns or financial planners who are not like the executive level, or the founders who aren't maybe as busy, even if their time is still valuable, it's a good way for them to cut their teeth at answering some of those in-person client questions. And then too, to also get comfortable saying things like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to research that more. It's just like a good sort of experience for them. I've seen a lot of advisors do that recently, is sort of that webinar stuff for their current clients, and then they repurpose into external marketing material too. I think too, as far as creating some nurturing content for whether you're an advisor or a small business owner, right? I love the idea of like client-facing notes or newsletters for advisors. I do think that creating that content can be a struggle, but that's obviously something you can delegate, right? Whether that's to like a firm like ours, or I see a lot of people delegate it to their virtual assistants. I don't recommend that content is like hyper technical. So we have seen, in days of old, sort of the quarterly market commentary, whatever, right? And the truth is, your clients want to hear from you more than that. And they kind of hired advisors for that. So like doing a market commentary, they're like, okay, great. Like, but what's it to me, right? Like, what are you going to do about it, or whatever the question is? So what we've seen a lot of our clients do is go the direction of having like a monthly communication to clients that doesn't talk about technical stuff, but talks about it's financial literacy month. Here's how to educate your kids about money, or here's some questions we got recently that I think, could be helpful. And that sort of adds that human element, but you're still automating it because it's a one-to-many communication, right? So I think that kind of, to your point, Mark, helps to segment out technical versus non-technical content, who you're marketing to internally as well as externally.
Yeah, exactly. Because the technical is just supplementary. I mean, the message is the marketing. It's not necessarily the tools or the automation behind it. We always err on the side of when you have everything else in place, then the automation becomes
the icing on the cake.
Yeah, the icing on
Exactly.
the cake.
It's not the cake, it's the icing.
Yep. Well, and there's so much you can do with it, right? It's like once the content's created, we saw an advisor set up, like they would write a monthly note to clients, but then they added that to an automation. So every new client who signed on would just get that letter monthly. Like they didn't have to rewrite it. They were just writing for, the current list or whatever. So there's stuff that you can do like that to make your life a little easier, make the lift a little bit lighter. Okay, well, sort of, this doesn't really dovetail, but something that I wanted to ask you guys, just because I'm not a tech person, but like I want to be more adept when it comes to tech. I love marketing technology and researching it. But we kind of have like our best practice tools that we use all the time, but I know there's a lot more out there. What tools do you guys see advisors using for either automation or for automating their marketing specifically?
When it comes to email marketing, again, I think a lot of what we do in terms of marketing, it revolves around email. Although that's not to say that there aren't other channels. There's video marketing, there's webinars, there's in-person presentations. But when we talk about tech, the first thing that comes to mind is email marketing. If you're just starting out and you're not really familiar with how those things work and you don't want to spend a ton of money to get started, our go-to tool of late has been MailerLite. It's free for the first 1,000 subscribers and it's really user-friendly. But that said, there's plenty of email marketing tools out there. There's MailChimp, which we've all heard of. There's ActiveCampaign. There's Constant Contact. They all kind of work similarly. So as far as tools are concerned, pick one that you like. If you don't like it, there's another one for you to choose from and try out and see until you find something you feel comfortable with.
Or if you want to go the extreme, what I call the hiker backpack route in terms of technology, you can always just use a Google spreadsheet. You can use your own email inbox, and then you can just use Zapier. And then what you can do is maybe have any inbound communications, create a new row on a spreadsheet, and you just dictate what you want to send, when you want to send it, using an external tool like Zapier to create maybe a draft in your inbox whenever a certain date comes up, or to even automatically send emails for you. So you don't have to pay extra money to use an email marketing platform, because a lot of the times you can just get away with the most basic things so long again as you have the content existing somewhere. All it depends on is what are the triggers for you to create those marketing collateral, and when do you want them to go out.
Two ends of the
absolutely.
Yeah,
user friendly and easy, and then like really complicated but
more controlled.
Exactly.
Yep. And I think it really just depends on what an advisor wants. So obviously a lot of people I'm talking to are like, I don't want to touch it, right? Like, how do I make this easy? And then I'm always like, pay for a system or get one like MailerLite that's free for the first 1,000 subscribers, so that it's all kind of in there for you. I have a lot of clients though who we even go so far as to recommend, hey, this is a client newsletter communication, send it as a mail merge from your CRM. Like, it's going to be more personal. Like, there are other ways but of doing that aren't as it's not going to hit spam filters, stuff like that. So, and I think you're totally right. I think email marketing is one of the biggest places advisors can automate marketing. I see that a lot, like with using Zapier, with creating lead magnets to collect email addresses and grow their sort of lead list, or so, whatever you want to call it, which I just think is interesting. Do you guys see any other areas of automation? So I have some opinions on like automating content creation, but interested to hear what you.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of other examples that come to mind are writing blogs and automatically posting them, tying in a little bit back into the idea of an email marketing system. Most of the email marketing systems that are out there nowadays will even let you go so far as to automate sending your new posts on a consistent basis to all of your
RSS reader.
Exactly. So that's one really cool thing. The other thing that we've seen not too much of yet, but like it's becoming more popular, is video marketing with tools like BombBomb.
Okay.
Just rather than having written communications, which isn't always the most ideal approach depending on your clientele, you know best. A lot of folks prefer kind of what you were saying earlier, Zoe, video communication, and that's another good way to do it. The other thing that comes to mind that's more, again, vanguard, it's not really like a traditional marketing, is text message marketing. I know with financial advisors, we get into some compliance issues with that. And there are some archiving tools that you'll need to make sure that you have in place if you are going to go that route, and also make sure your compliance approves it. But we've seen a few advisors lately setting up text message marketing campaigns. And usually that's in relationship to some sort of event, saying, hey, we're putting on this event, just wanted to let you know, here's a link to sign up, or here's a link to jump on when you're ready. It's short, sweet, it's to the point, and it gets directly to where your clients are. They've always got their phones on them. So that's a really cool new thing that we've seen a lot of people doing.
I've seen a lot of people ask questions about that as well. And while I don't recommend it for like, you shouldn't be texting people a link to your blog, like that doesn't make sense. But I see a lot of it for automating follow-up as well, from even things like client meetings, like following up, say, hey, thanks for meeting with me. Always love connecting. Just that added touch point, again, for that internal making good client relationships that last lifelong, ideally. I think that's a really positive use for it. We've also seen text follow-ups for when they host an event or like a webinar, following up to say thanks for attending, or click here to get your free download, or what have you. So a lot of people have used it if they're doing kind of I always say, like, library presentations, or the classic advisor marketing scheme that, like, not scheme, but that you hear about a lot. It really still works for a lot of advisors. Some people have found it's hit or miss. But if that's working for you, implementing something like a tool I like is Textful for that. So people can sign up, and then it automates text messages to go out to them. So I think that could be useful too. One question we got was, are you seeing different generations enjoying video content? And I'll kind of add to that question. How do you recommend, I know you said like BombBomb, what tools do you recommend advisors look at for video communication?
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So what we recommend if you want to just get started really quickly, even like you said earlier, Zoe, just sending a mail merge through your regular email, you don't have to use a specific tool like BombBomb to send an email communication with a video in it. You can just create a video separately, upload it to something like Google Drive or Dropbox, YouTube, and put a link to the video within that email communication. So one thing that we commonly say, again, getting started quickly and easily, is using Zoom. A lot of people don't think about it, but Zoom, you can jump into a meeting with yourself and you can record the meeting and download that recording, upload it to a platform, and be done with it. There's also things like Loom.
Oh, and I was...
All right, we're on the same page.
Do you mind?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was specifically going to mention Loom, because for any one-off videos that you might want to send to your clients, you can send a Loom video that allows them to, at a specific point in time within the video, put a thumbs up reaction, even write comments. So one thing that advisors can do to just get creative with videos like that is maybe do some kind of follow-up report on a specific client engagement and have the client respond to what your feedback is within video format, which isn't necessarily practical for email marketing or like marketing blast, but it could just help further automate the way that an RIA does things in terms of communicating via video communications with older clients who might need additional hand-holding on how to use technology, how to access specific forms that they might need to sign digitally, and things of that nature.
Absolutely. I was going to suggest Loom as well. We're actually using that a lot more internally for our practice too. I mean, I'm obsessed, right? Like, I'm a convert, and I like too. So it has a team feature. So like all of our team can join. It's relatively low cost. I like that it records links. So from a compliance feature, you're not just like sending a quick video over email. Like, there's a clear record, paper trail of you doing that. And then two, I also enjoy, and what I found in my personal experience, we've got clients who span in their 20s to their 70s, right? And I find even our clients who are closer to the I won't say retirement because they've chosen not to retire, but sort of like alternate work path, and they're marketing to that goal. They've told me, oh my gosh, I love Loom. Like, why haven't I been using this? Because it's quick. It's an easy way for me to record a 2 to 3 minute video for someone, as opposed to blocking an hour in everyone's calendar, which doesn't always make a ton of sense. So, and it still provides that personal touch point. So what I was finding was, as our team scaled, and most advisors run into this issue too, all service-based businesses do, you run out of time, like for meetings in a week, right? Like you can't meet with everybody, but you want to talk to them. Email just loses a sense of personal touch. And frankly, a lot of clients who you're dealing with their money, they want a little bit more than that, right? Like they don't just want you to shoot them an email saying, thumbs up, things are looking good. Like they might want an answer to a question. So it's a good way to kind of maintain that personal connection with existing clients, with prospects, to thank them for following up. I've seen people go so far as to record videos for their website using Loom, like a welcome video to introduce themselves. I think it's a fantastic tool, but I've heard a lot of people mention BombBomb to me recently too, and that's sort of the next one I want to explore, but I've not gotten so far as to do that yet.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind too, about the question about generational differences between enjoying video content and other tools in conjunction with that is Facebook Lives. It's not necessarily a tool, it's a platform, but we've found that people of all ages are on Facebook, and Facebook has that video feature built in. So going to your clients directly, it's maybe a little bit different than using a tool and setting up a scheduled campaign and then automating that. But I still think it falls into the efficiency, automation, and also the personalization touch that people of all generations and all ages are really finding accessible. Because one of the things that you want to be careful of when you're doing marketing, especially if it's something more involved like video marketing, is that your end user, your lead, your client, whoever it is that's actually receiving this content, can access it quickly and easily. So that's just another thing that came to mind talking about that.
Yep. Especially on a platform that they would already be using. And if they would be using the platform for their leisure, like Facebook, I mean, it's almost unlimited what your reach can be.
Yeah. Totally agree. 2 things on Facebook Live, because I love that. And I'm so glad you guys brought it up, because all my advisors are like shocked when I suggest they do it. From a compliance perspective, you can cast a Zoom webinar to Facebook Live. So like it could archive in Zoom if you already have archiving technology set up there. So like the compliance question is fine, right? It's not like you're going live and compliance will have to approve later, like it's already been recorded for you. So I think that's fantastic. From a social media, I call it like search engine optimization, but social media algorithm standpoint, the more you can play in their sandbox, so like on their platform, the more ranking or views or whatever engagement you want to call it, you're going to get. So I always recommend, if you have a pre-recorded video, load it as an MP4 direct to your LinkedIn profile or Facebook page. Don't just post the YouTube link. If you can do a Facebook Live, it's even better. They prefer that. You can add it to your story later. People can set notifications so that they don't like miss your live. There's just a lot more options there because, as we know, they're a business too, right? And they want to keep people on their platform. So the less you're having them migrate away, the better your social media is going to do.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think that's a fun kind of tip, because I know a lot of advisors feel nervous about like going live, but like I don't think it's something to be nervous about. Okay, so kind of talked a little bit about tools. I'm interested to hear more about like lead generation tools. So I know like you guys use Jotform and some other things that like we personally don't use, but I'm just, for my own personal education, interested to learn more about. How are you guys seeing advisors use?
Yeah, I'm so happy you asked this question. Anytime I get to talk about forms and Jotform in particular, it makes my day. We have done a lot of work, again, lately, more so than in the past, with using alternative lead generation tools, things like quizzes that funnel into an email marketing campaign, routing questionnaires, screening questionnaires, things like that.
Risk tolerance questionnaires.
Again, it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is what is something of value that you can provide, whether it's an existing client that you've already worked with or whether it's somebody you've never worked with yet. That's going to allow you to provide that value without taking too much extra time and burden on yourself. So having those forms that are sort of fun little quizzes that you can do, what's your budget personality, for example, or if you were to pick a financial animal that you most relate. I don't know, I'm making this
or
up.
If you win the lottery or.
Yeah, something that's engaging, fun, and informative, or something like a retirement readiness questionnaire that folks can use to gauge where they are on the spectrum of being able to retire, things like that. And you want to make it really niche specific, but there's many different options that you can use forms to do that lead generation piece. And then having it be electronic versus paper, what's even better about it is that you don't have to just end it there. They don't just fill out the form and then go into the ether, or have to add them manually to your email marketing software to continue to reach out to them. You can set up a tool that will automatically add anybody who's filled out that form or that quiz to your email marketing campaign. So just to give you an example, going back to that retirement readiness questionnaire, one of the things that we frequently do is set up a retirement readiness quiz that adds a person to a retirement tips email campaign. So not only are they getting the value right up front with getting the results from that quiz, but then they're continuing to receive value related to a topic they're interested in because they filled out that quiz in the first place.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That can also help with segmenting any new leads that come in as well, because you can also identify what services that lead was looking for without even having to go through the trouble of meeting with them first, identifying what their pain points are. Because let's say you have 3 different forms on your landing page, one for leads that are interested in investment advisory services, one for leads that are interested in financial planning only, maybe around debt consolidation or something specific, and then something around retirement. If you have all those forms feeding into your email marketing campaign, you can auto segment by specific interests and then assign tags and get even further creative from there.
No, I love that. And honestly, to your point, having one like quiz or one lead gen option at the top of your funnel is almost foolproof. So like I always say, people are desperate to know what you want them to do on your website. Like if you give them multiple options and they don't know, and there's not a clear do this if you are ABC, they're not going to do it. That's people are, unfortunately, for better or worse, generally lazy. They lose attention span very quickly. And in today's hyper tech focused world, they just want, like, if it's not ultra user friendly, they're not going to complete the form. So I love that idea of like an interactive quiz that then segments out to, okay, you're a retiree, a Gen Xer, you're a new parent, or you just graduated, and have like, there could even be something like a lead nurture sequence with a free PDF or collateral or blog post that you send them that continues, again, recycling your old content and automating the process going forward.
Definitely.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, its Jotform sounds amazing. Every time I look at it, I'm like amazed. And just haven't, like, we need to start implementing it for my business before I can use it for advisors, because we always use ourselves as the guinea pigs. So I think that'll be really fun. Okay, a couple more questions that I had, and then we'll kind of open it up to the audience. So one question I got on this webinar I did on Wednesday was someone asked, what do I do if it breaks? Like Zapier, I can never say it right, often breaks. Like it needs more logins, or I have to reconnect to the Zap. What happens, or how do you help advisors make it as break proof as possible for like a solo who doesn't have time to check that stuff all the time?
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good question. I don't know that there's a perfect answer because tech does break over time. But what I will say is this, the most important thing that you can do specifically with Zapier, if you are trying to troubleshoot, is read the error emails. Anytime something goes wrong, they're going to send you a notification. Sometimes it's a little cryptic, but there is a forum where you can go if you have questions, or you could reach out to their support. They're amazing in terms of helping assist people with those kind of technical questions, particularly around errors. And I would say 9 times out of 10, it's, hey, your login expired or you changed your password and you just have to reconnect the app. That's probably a good amount of what the errors people are getting are related to. But if it's something else, there's that. We also offer, again, whether it's us or you decide to self-service, we do offer ongoing maintenance plans for folks with their tech. So just to offer ourselves as a resource, if you have repeated Zapier errors, or if you're kind of getting stuck and you're not sure how to take it to the next level, we can be a resource in terms of helping with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Zoe.
I was going to say, that was my next question, was like, do you recommend someone on their team be in charge of that, like maintaining the tech, or like, is that something you guys do? Where could they find help with that? But it sounds like you have sort of like a maintenance tech package for making sure that things don't break, right? Or if they do break, that they're fixed.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was going to add on to that was if you have a current Zapier configuration and you are receiving any error alerts, that reach out to us at team@sphynxautomation.com. We can take a look and see what we can do to help. And as far as Zapier goes, one thing that a lot of people do need reminders on is setting up the maintenance alerts that come out of Zapier, because whenever there's a new Zapier update or an upgrade or some sort of API update with the way an application connects to Zapier, if you don't have that maintenance alert on, you might not be aware how that update is affecting your current configuration.
That makes a lot of sense, and sounds like something I would probably fall prey to as well. So, no, that's super helpful. It looks like we've got a question here. Let's say a solo RIA started from scratch, like right now. What tech stack would you recommend? And I have some opinions on like marketing tech that I can kind of showcase, but like, what do you think would make the most?
This is all, go for it.
I would say all you need, and this is because I am extremely low tech. I love technology. I love a bunch of different applications, but I have found that simpler is better. Simplicity is the best way to go. What we recommend the most is G Suite. Not to isolate anyone who uses Microsoft or prefers Microsoft. Microsoft has its own automation ecosystem with tons of great documentation that you can go down the rabbit hole with, but it's not always the most integratable, friendly ecosystem
with third-party
with third-party apps. But if you're a new RIA and you just want to hit the ground running, absolutely G Suite, Calendly. And if you are targeting millennials, you want to be a member of XYPN so that you can use Wealthbox as your CRM. Hands down, Wealthbox is by far the best CRM that we have found our clients to use, especially for smaller sized RIAs. It's very easy to understand, very easy to automate with. And we also have custom integrations that we offer that allow users to get more functionality out of it, just to make managing their processes, managing their workflows much more easier and conducive to solopreneur management.
And I would add, as far as the marketing is concerned, MailerLite, we talked about that already. And for data gathering, whether that be the quiz type lead generation that we just mentioned, or just general data gathering, intake questionnaires, job forms, definitely our preference in terms of that. With those 5 tools, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything important. That pretty much covers the spectrum of what a first-time solo RIA is going to need to get started and have a really robust tech stack with not too many things going on that's going to be distracting and cause inefficiency. And
cost effective, because G Suite is, for the most part, I think it's $5 a month for the G Suite plan or for the business plan, but you can also use the free version of Google, because you still get access to Google Sheets, you still get a Gmail account, and then you can use the free version of Calendly to have up to 3 event types, I believe.
Just one now.
Or just one now. You can use JotForm for 5 free forms, and we have found that most new or solo or small RIAs don't necessarily need more than 2 to 3 forms to kind of hit the ground running and, just do some market testing, see what they want to niche in, see what exactly they want to offer, because as soon as you start your RIA, you're most likely not going to know what it is you can specialize in, even though you'll have ideas about what you want to do. But as you work with more clients, you'll have more insights on who you like to work with and what work you actually enjoy doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that really the goal, especially at the beginning, should be to, as quickly as possible, build your book of business.
Yep.
I think a lot of times people get distracted by the technology and the automation, and it sounds really fun and cool. And it is. I mean, obviously we do this every day and we love it so much. But at the same time, the primary focus of a business is to make money and to have clients. And we really recommend keeping it super simple, at least to start out, so that you can focus on that ultimate goal of getting more clients and helping more people. The money will come, and then the tech will become more necessary and more scalable as things grow within your business.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic advice. And as far as marketing tech goes, I mean, the there's 1,000 different options, right? I always tell people, if you're just getting started, a MailerLite or a MailChimp, something with some sort of free option is sort of a good starting point. It's easy to create, especially with some of MailChimp's new builders, although I feel like they're constantly switching platforms and what's available in the free and not, which is a little frustrating for someone who does this for a living. But I do think that you can create things like forms to have people join your mail list or receive a free download. Again, that may not be in the free option anymore. I feel like they just changed it again. But when you're kind of ready to upgrade, we really like systems like ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit. ActiveCampaign is also a CRM. So I usually tell advisors, if you're working with a wealth box or a red tail, you probably don't need it. It's like driving a Ferrari to pick up your kid from kindergarten, right? But I also think that like ConvertKit is a really, really easy funnel building tool. So if getting more leads into your funnel is something you want to automate more automated email sequences, I think that's really easy to use. And that's what we use in my business personally. It's a plain text system. So it looks like it's personal emails coming direct from your inbox, which in general are more deliverable. So something to consider there too.
Yeah, lots of options for people. Again, we have our preferences, but if there's something that you don't like, the great thing about today's technology landscape is there's so many different choices for different needs. If you don't like the tool that you try first, try a different one. It's going to be, there's going to be something for everybody out there in that landscape.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go it alone.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was going to say again, like for like website too, something people often discount is like, where will my website live? There are even options like within that landscape. So if you want to think about, I want something that's not going to break, something that I know when an update happens, it's just going to be easy, go with Squarespace or go with like a 20/10. They have a fantastic platform for kind of getting something propped up quickly. If you want something more custom and are willing to go to a developer, if something should break with an update, WordPress is more customizable. So different options there as well, depending on how much you want to automate or delegate or what have you.
Yeah, even using a tool like MailChimp or MailerLite or ActiveCampaign, all of those three platforms allow you to build landing pages and or even a full website right within the platform. So to your point about wanting to do it yourself and be more customizable, those are options too that will allow you to have everything all in one sphere. I love that analogy though that you used about the Ferrari. That's great.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of clients who are like, should I get HubSpot? And I'm like, no, probably not. Like, you probably don't need that much right now. Like, for what you need to accomplish, I don't need that much right now, and I do this every day. So just kind of knowing what your needs are, you can kind of pick a software that's good for your price point, and to your guys' point, as simple as possible. Okay. Well, it looks like we covered almost everything I wanted to cover. The only other thing that we were going to kind of talk about was delegation and automation and how that can feel like an automated part of your process. So and what I mean by that is having someone else do the work for you so that it's automated within your firm. I think that can be true for you guys, like setting up automations. It can be true for content creation. There's so many different things that you could automate just by getting it off your plate, right? Paraplanning, that's something big that I see advisors do when they first get started. So that's something to consider too. If you're looking to automate but know that someone has to execute a process, figure out how you can get it off of your plate at like a low cost and what's going to work best for you. Awesome. Well, with that being said, I guess, does anybody else in the chat have any other questions? We're happy to answer whatever you've got. Or if you guys have any questions that you wanted to, or not questions, but comments that we didn't touch on yet. Andy, yes, the recording will be made available. I'll send it out to everybody after the presentation. And if you guys have anything else, you can always email us. I'll include the information for Sphynx Automation and how you can contact them too. They've got a lot of cool different services and I think like products and stuff now too, right guys?
Yeah, and thanks to you. I actually am glad you said that because I wanted to throw a shout out to you, Zoe, and your team. We have some email marketing campaign templates in our Sphynx Automation store that Zoe and her team helped us create. So I would highly recommend checking those out. They're incredible, not because of anything we did, but because of the value of perfectly planned
the idea. So no, I think that that's a fantastic call out. And if that's something, to your point, you want to set up a quiz or something interactive but need an automated nurture, Sphynx has those available too. Okay, awesome. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Again, if you guys think of anything after the presentation concludes, feel free to either email me directly, reach out to Arielle and Mark directly. and we can go from there. But otherwise, we'll send out the recording. And thank you guys so much for joining me. This is always fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.